Before we get into today's video, I would like to remind you guys that melanineclectic.com is open for all of your stationery art needs. We specialize in putting the Black in fantasy, but there is something for everyone on www.melanineclectic.com. Now let's get on with today's video. Hi guys! So I know y'all were looking for part 3 of my last reading recap, but that memory card is dead. So I'm gonna have to re-record with those books plus the other books that I read for just, you know what? Get comfortable, get your tea, grab your pillow, and let's do a reading recap. So the first book of today's reading recap is, wait. I wrote a script because I'm trying to be better. It is Pilar Ramirez and the Curse of Zanzanon. That is the sequel to Pilar Ramirez and the Escape from Zafa. How do I put this? First of all, I didn't know that this was going to be a series. Not mad at it, just didn't know that it was going to be a series. Or is it a duology? I think it might be a duology. I don't know. Either way, I like the first one better than the second one. I felt like the second one, I would have liked the second one to actually be longer. That way I could, I don't know. I just didn't feel like I connected with the second book as much as the first. So the second book is actually a story about Pilar's family and the origin of Pilar's family and how her family is connected to Zafa, like 100% connected to Zafa. And the connections I really liked, but because I'm not familiar with the culture, and I think that's the issue. I think I'm not familiar with the Dominican culture and Dominican stories and the Dominican belief systems that, you know, are more prevalent. I didn't quite connect to the second book as much as the first one. Not to say that it wasn't a good book, it's just that I'm aware of my ignorance here and I probably need to understand more about some of the themes in the book to be able to truly appreciate the loveliness of the book. But I think I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars, so that's still good in my book. So I'm looking on my shelf right now trying to see if I could like quickly grab it. Or did I already put it in the donate pile? It might already be in the donate pile. But I DNF The Girl Beneath the Sea by, I don't know who it's by. I'm going to put the book right here. I was bored. So for me, I think I should probably point this out that when I state that I DNF'd a book, it doesn't mean that I'm never going to go to it again unless I explicitly state I will never read this book again. It's never going to happen, If I don't specifically state that, then more than likely what's happened is when I picked up the book, I picked up this book twice and I just wasn't feeling it either one of those. And I know that it was one of the books that like people loved. I wasn't feeling it. It didn't really work for me. Nothing else to say. So speaking of DNFs, I DNF'd The Fourth Wing, which I know I have watched many of y'all videos. I have watched Instagram, Book Talk. I have seen so many people love this book that I knew that I was going to love this book because it was like a military school. It was dragons. It was violence. All the things that normally make a wonderful formula for me to enjoy a book. However, how do I put this? It's hard for me to... The sense of danger was not well done for me. She's supposed to, hold on. The main character of this book is supposed to be in danger of losing her life all the time because of the position that she holds within the society that she's in and the fact that she's kind of a weakling and all these kind of things, right? Which do present many times in the book. The problem is, because I know she's the main character of this book, she's not going to die. Y'all told me she was not gonna die by making her the main character. So creating this false idea of like, she's a weakling, she's frail, everybody's gonna try to kill her, is she gonna die? Well, we obviously know she's not gonna die. So that kind of takes away the the feeling for me. It's one thing if like she just kept getting her behind whooped and like we needed her to be better. I think I could have gotten with that type of idea better, but the fact that from the very beginning of the book they push this narrative that like she's a weakling, everybody's gonna be trying to kill her, da 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 da, and then like this like false three wheel shenanigans. No, we knew it wasn't gonna be no third wheel. We saw the bad boy, we knew that was the guy that was gonna end up trying to get with her. I never even made it to the point where they interacted with dragons. And sometimes I think maybe I should just go back and read just the parts with the dragons. But this is one of the book community books where I'm asking the question of what did I miss? Because it did not grab me. I was bored. I rolled my eyes a lot, and yeah, just wasn't a fan. So if you read Fourth Wing and you were into Fourth Wing and you actually wanted to have like an engaging conversation with me about why you liked it, change my mind is basically the thought process here. Change my mind, because now I feel like I have FOMO because all these things are coming out for the sequel and everybody's hype and there's all types of stuff coming out for it, and I want the stuff, but I feel like I probably should love the book before I get the dragon stuff. So yeah. In honor of the fourth book coming out, I feel like I've talked about Blackmail and Babinka before, or maybe I recorded it in this part of the deleted one. Also, hello Melanin, you are really giving today. Like, you look extra hydrated and plumped. But yeah, so I read Blackmail and Babinka by Mia P. Manansala, and I love this series. It's the Tita Rosie Tita Rosie's Kitchen Cozy Mystery series. So far there's 4 books. The 4th one is Melanin Murder, and that one just came out this month. And I think because it's October, it's the perfect time to read a mystery, a death, a murder mystery. So I think I might actually be diving into some crime fiction situations with that book. With that being said, again, I really love this series. I love the intense Filipino foods in this. I love the fact that you can also go onto her website and get the recipes for if you ever wanted to make anything, but I'm probably not gonna make any. I'm just letting y'all know it's there. I like the mystery books because I like, well, one, I've kind of grown attached to the characters. We're on book 3 of the series, so I'm attached to certain characters. So I'm just like, I hope nothing happens to them, because in mystery books, like, there's always some type of situation where like something is revealed, but usually somebody else had to die for that to be revealed. There's always that kind of situation. And this one, I did not guess the right person. I was wrong. But yeah, I was wrong. And I was delightfully wrong, and I think that just makes it like even better. So again, loved this book. So I finally finished Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller, and it's basically like trying to create the story for your business. So y'all know, entrepreneur by night. These last couple years have not been the best for Melanin Eclectic. It has definitely been a learning experience and trying to figure out how Melanin Eclectic should expand to survive. And so I've been trying to figure out ways to get people to want to support Melanin Eclectic more. And which also reminds me, if you have ideas of things that you might want, that you think Melanin Eclectic could make happen, leave a comment down below. But yeah, with all that being said, I have also made it a mission to read at least 4 nonfiction business helping books this year. So I think that's book number 2, I think. I think it's number 2 because, no, it's number 3, because I read, I think it's like The Unapologetic Guide to Black Mental Health. And then I reread Atomic Habits because I like to reread that one. So I think we gotta find a 4th book to read. So yeah, if you're looking for like business books that like help your business, or like if you're trying to, define your business better, I think Building a Story Brand is a good book. I don't know if it's a good place to start or finish, but when I look up entrepreneurs and listen to entrepreneur podcasts, they love this book, and I haven't quite figured out how to apply it to my business yet. Like, I'm not even gonna front with y'all. I am struggling a little bit like with the translation, but I do feel like I got some tools for how to present, if that makes sense. So, did I talk about Almost There? I feel like I talked about Almost There by Farrah Rashan last year, but if I didn't, that's the Tiana Twisted Tales. And y'all know I love me a good Twisted Tales. But it made me think, like, what other books has she written? And she wrote like a whole series. So it was Huddle With Me Tonight. Wait, is that it? I think it's Huddle. Well, I read one book. It was Huddle With Me Tonight by Farrah Rashan. And then The Dating Playbook, and then The Hookup Plan. I think it's The Boyfriend Project. I think I'm missing The Boyfriend Project. Either way, those are Farrah Rashan books that I just dove into during a sad moment. And again, just would really love the Black rom-com-esque stories to make their way to Hulu and all these other streaming services that we pay for, so that I can have my little gushy girly moments on my couch with fine Black men and women on TV for me to watch. But since I can't get that, I have been doing that book-wise. And since Black contemporary is always attacking these hardcore topics of racism, sexism, and all that other stuff, and we're not actually being able to be contemporary. Something is scratching my ear. Hold on. Sorry, it's wash day, y'all. But yeah, this seems to be the only way that I can get like Black contemporary fiction is through romance novels. And I'm annoyed because there are some contemporary girlies that are not like deep diving into, you know, Black women are exhausted and stuff like that. Like, there probably are. I just haven't found them. So for now, we're sticking with finding Black romance authors. So for Naked this year, I read Heat of Love by Mika James. This is a story of an older woman whose first husband passed away, and she ends up possibly finding love again with this younger man in a small city. That was cute. Can't Catch Me, Houston Seahawks by Alexandra Warren. I think this was a book that I read because Oshale talked about how she loved the Seahawks series. So I love that one. Then the next one was Sweet Hand by N.G. Peltier. This one was adorable. I've come to the conclusion that when romance and mysteries have food involved, like cooking things, bakery things, I love them a little bit more. So I really liked Sweet Hand. Sweet Hand is the story of this super big baker and a music producer, and they're like old high school like rivals. So I guess, would this be considered enemies to lovers? You guys, look at me figuring out romance themes. Anyways, then the last one that I read was What a Match by Mimi Grace. I like Mimi Grace. I think I said that last Naked or the Naked before that. Like, I like her. So, yeah, I read those. So I read 4 books for Naked. Speaking of which, Black Prose Club will definitely be talking about our Naked wrap up this month. We'll explain why we've been gone, guys, like we always do. Yeah. So, oh my gosh, you guys. I read Theo Tan and the Iron Fan by Jessie Q. Sontanto. So remember when I read the first Theo Tan and I was like, oh my gosh, I really love this book. I thought that it was, you know, first of all, I found it to be a creative middle grade. I was like, I still feel like middle grade is getting the better fantasies. Well, the non-adult fantasies. I feel like YA is really slipping in the fantasy category. And because all of the fantasies in the YA world that are coming out are all kind of following the same formula of boredom and mediocrity, whereas the middle grade ones are really starting to try to show out. I cried at the end of this middle grade book. It got me. It managed to make me feel a way about these 2 brothers. So, long story short, Theo is trying to figure out what happened to his brother, who was mysteriously murdered. That's what happened in the first book. This is a continuation of the second book, or to the second book. And at the end of this book, your girl was in her car listening to the book with tears streaming down her eyes. And I'm sure I looked crazy to other people. And while it was cathartic to actually be able to cry, the book broke my soul. Like, I was like, I don't even know if there is another Theo Tan book coming out. But when I tell you, I am hurting. I am hurting. So yeah, needless to say, this book got a 5 out of 5 for me. Loved it. I think I loved it better than the first book, and that says a lot because I really enjoyed that first book. But this one, oh, man, like, man. Anyways, woo! I finished the David Bode trilogy. I have not read the novellas yet, but I needed to take a break because let's just, this will be a City of Brass moment. So if you don't want to have the City of Brass moment, just click to the next chapter where we're doing the send-off. The first book, City of Brass, is such a creative story that you are pulled in. And you're pulled in because it's so new and so, like, you're invested. There is a lot that happens in the first book. However, in the second book, I cannot say the same thing. In the second and third book, actually, I cannot say the same thing. I felt like the second and third book dragged on forever. I don't understand what happened. I feel like this series was probably meant, she probably sold it as a duology and they wanted 3 books. And so what did they do? They made us have a whole second book where we had to wait months for the actual festival to have things go down. And then not only that, like, it was a 3-point perspective, but I was tired of the 3-point perspective because we spent so much time in their heads and their feelings and the story would not progress. Like, you're reading chapters. Like, in the last book, why did I have to read 30 chapters for the story to really progress? And I'm grateful for the explanations of certain things. The whole explanation involving Ali and his family, I appreciate that. But we couldn't have got that quicker. We couldn't have got that with the story. You know, like, it was like, in order for us to learn something, the story had to stop rather than the reveal progressing the story. And so I honestly think that the series has major timing problems. I think it was extremely too long. I was bored. When everything finally went down in the final book, I was like, finally. Like, I don't know who's about to die, but can you hurry up and kill them? It was the vibe that I got. And I even told my friend, because we started reading the books at the same time, but she finished way before me. Like, it was kind of to the point where I was reading the book just to finish because I had already come so far, because I was losing interest the longer it took for them to get to the freaking point. So I am glad that I feel like her writing style has progressed tremendously from the David Bode trilogy to Amina. I feel like we got a little bit better. I didn't feel like I had the same timing issues in Amina as I did with the David Bode series. I still think the David Bode series is a good series. I just think we should also note that this story is written by a non-person of color who married into the culture and then wrote the story. So there are probably some things that weren't the greatest that I am not aware of because that is not my culture either. But as an outsider, I enjoyed the story, so I see why it was super popular. Would I recommend the series to people? Actually, yeah. But I would let them know it's a little long-winded. I heard that the novellas, the 4th book, The River of Solomon, I think, I heard that that collection is actually pretty good. So maybe after I've had like a David Bode cleanse, maybe I'll dive back into that. But right now, I'm not really feeling it. Okay, so actually we just got through another wrap up. Thank you guys, as always, for supporting me and understanding that life is happening. So I haven't been as consistent, but I hope that I'm able to, because the inconsistency is trickled into my business and we got to get it together. So let me know what you guys have been reading. What books are you excited to read? Please let me know all those things down below in the description box, in the comments section, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.